Big Wheel Dog 82 in the soil here, and I'm talking about bioassays. Do you understand what a real bioassay is? Well, guess what? I got a few studies here that I'm getting ready to do to help you keep from having issues in your garden. A bioassay is, in layman's terms, a test to see if there's anything that will interfere with a seed germinating or a plant growing true to form, whether that's a tomato or a bean or anything else that you might decide to grow in your garden. Now, while the test that I'm doing is far from perfect, it's good enough to show whether or not there's a big problem with any of the inputs that I decide to put into my garden. I will be using the worm castings from my leaf mold pile. I will be using the sifted compost from my stage 2 of my compost bin. And I will be going ahead and taking some of the leaves that I've still got on hand that have already been shredded and doing a water test with that, just to show you guys how to do a test with whether it be manure or soil that you've brought in, compost, just about anything. And here we have our control, which is just plain Pro Mix that's been sifted just like the others will be, and that's at a 1/8 of an inch. Here I'm taking a little bit of blood meal, putting into my Pro Mix. And then I'll hit it with some lab serum. Here you see in these two bottles, this bottle right here is just water. And then this bottle here is a lactobacillus serum. So it's just lactic acid bacteria made from rice water and milk. And then once it's done fermenting, this is the whey that was pulled off. And since I don't have any kind of microbial life in the pot that has the blood meal in it, what I'm going to do is start it off by adding just a little bit of this to give it something that can break down the blood meal over time. Here we have a 50-50 mix by volume of worm castings that I made myself, and the Pro Mix, which we are going to pour in here to mix up. Roughly, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then pour back into the container. Here we have some of my leaf mold that I just went ahead and grabbed real fast, threw it through my 1/8 inch sift, and got out these castings from the leaf mold that will be going into the next pot. And if you can see, we do have some worm activity, which is always beautiful to see. As we can see here, the leaf mold and Pro Mix has been mixed and is now loaded into its container. Here we have my compost bucket with sifted compost. Again, it's been sifted down to 1/8 inch to try to keep things even. And again, it's at a 50-50 mix ratio with the sifted Pro Mix. And here we go with the compost and Pro Mix mix loaded up into its container. What I decided to do with this last container is to show you how I do my initial bioassay with both my leaves and horse manure. I do not have any horse manure right now, so it'll just be the leaves. And what that is going to entail is taking a bucket of water, filling it with my leaves, and only watering this exact container with just that as we go along. And here's the chopped up leaves that we're doing for the leaf water. You don't really need a ton of leaves. You just need enough in there where it's gonna last most of the test. And if for some reason they dissolve or I need to add more, I can always do that. So here we go, filling that up with water. And then we will stir that to get it all moist. And what will happen is, over time, obviously, if you're using the water, it's going to go down. All you have to do is just refill it and keep watering the one pot, which is this one right here that says, again, Leaf Water Pro Mix Green Bean. The reason why we're doing this water test with the leaves, again, is to look for herbicides that might cause issues with your seedlings that you use it with before you stick it into your compost or introduce it as an input to your garden, period. And again, this is the same way I would do with horse manure. With horse manure, though, I would just take some of it, keep it separate from everything else, and every time you go to water, just take a little bit of the manure and mix it in with water, and then water in the green bean that you're trying to test. All right, now we've got all of our pots figured and set up, and then really all that's left to do is plant our beans. And the beans that I'm using are just garden bean Roma 2s from Park Seed. That's not really an important thing. And again, I've got my leaf water here, and so we're just going to start planting. I'll do a few of these just because, but you don't necessarily need to see me do all of them. So the first I'm gonna go from the control to the lab serum and Pro Mix with the blood meal one, and then the leaf water, because I don't think those are gonna interfere with each other. And then the rest of them, they all have their own microbiology to them, so that'll help break down itself. Again, I only added the lab serum to the blood meal just to sort of kind of help make sure that it's going to break down. But I'm not going to continue to water the blood meal one with the lab serum and water. It's just going to be plain water. The only one that's going to have anything special about it is going to be the leaf water one. So the control. There's 4 holes there. Four holes there. And then 4 holes there. So each pot is getting 4 beans, because I want to get as many sample sizes as I can without driving myself nuts and wasting good seed. So I'm just gonna keep it to 4, and that'll be enough to come to a conclusion, even though at some point you're going to end up cutting at least half of the beans that come up in the pots to allow them to continue to grow, but we'll get into that in the next video. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then after all that, you just set them aside somewhere where they won't be messed up or messed with. I'm going to be sitting mine in my cheap outdoor greenhouse that I have, and just go from there. So like I said, the next time that we look at these, it'll be after they've sprouted and before they have their true leaves, because we won't really see a big difference unless it's something affecting germination until the true leaves come. And by then we're going to have to decide which of these we're going to cut, because you can't really support 4 plants in one small container like this for a bioassay. And just like that, we're off to running. What we're going to do now is go step by step to see if all of those amendments that I have separated out in the same standard soil, which is basically just Pro Mix that's been sifted, how they all affect the plants. More than likely, most of those I've already bioassayed myself, so I have an idea of what's going on there. But again, this is a little journey that we can do, and this is just part 1 of a multi-part video series. Why don't you guys follow along, plant your own seeds in your own inputs before you compost them, and let's have this journey together. There'll be more coming up. See you guys later. This is Big Wheel Dog 82 in the soil, and I'm out of here.